That's good to catch up on.
I was gonna say, I'll catch you up. So I'm calling it the 1 year interview. So I basically had a 1 year interview where I stuck to the 3 P's of social media marketing, which is predictable, persistent, presence. I was putting out content really, really well for a whole year, right? I hired my first life coach that I paid all the dollars for, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm spending this much money on a coach dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And then just pumped out stuff for a year. Didn't really make a lot of money off of it. But a company approached me and they were like, hey, we've seen everything that you do. You've got a very specific skill set that we're looking for. And I was like, oh, do I? He kind of used that, projected it out. And now we work with tech companies, mostly based out of Silicon Valley, teaching their sales teams how to take the trifecta of like executives, sales teams, and marketing teams and get them all on the same page with their social media. So that, and I'm ghostwriting a lot of executive social media posts.
That's awesome.
So it's fun.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I love that that's a specific niche that, let me assume here, you didn't go to college for LinkedIn. This was something that was not just self-taught, but self-executed, and you were working on this for something else, and someone else noticed how good you were and how skilled.
Right. And so that's why it's the 1 year interview, because it's like, I wasn't necessarily looking for this job, right? I have my own mindset coaching company where I do essentially the same thing, but with every other part of your life, not just your career.
Yeah.
And so where in the realm of life do we find that coaching to one thing, people assume if you're good at this thing, you're probably good at other things. And so, but just honestly, if nothing else, like showing up every single day, that is the difference.
Yeah.
Showing up, doing the work every single day for seemingly nothing. You're like, I'm just going to keep doing this because this is my dream. I'm getting 0 positive feedback, but I'm going to keep going. And then all of a sudden, something happens where it's like kind of the idea that an overnight success happens over 15 years, right? And it's like, oh yeah, you didn't see the 15
It wasn't
years
exactly, it's not overnight. And something, okay. I always like to stop myself in the middle of me saying something. I really need to be like Elon Musk. He likes to stop and then he kind of computes his answer and then he spits it out. So I'm trying to be a little bit more like that and not interrupt myself. But I'm so bad at it. So you didn't know, 1, I'm recording. So we're in it. Okay, cool. And then 2, for you guys on the channel who don't know, so Leah is awesome. Leah is the oldest of 5
sisters.
5 sisters. 5 sisters. And Leah, I don't know if you know this, and I'm sure other people have told you this, but your mindset and the things that you post help me get through my day. And not just that, it's something that you mentioned one time, and I'd really like you to kind of explain it to the audience, because this specific quote, you said, I don't like when you say this is my reason why. I think it was your reason what is. Will you explain that a little bit to my viewers?
Yes. So in the life coaching world, like Tony Robbins is known the most for like coining the phrase, like, find your why. And it's huge with life coaching people. And it drives me a little bit nuts because
I love that word. Yeah. Keep going.
Right.
I loved it. And I still say it, but I also take what you said. Anyways, I'll stop interrupting.
So it's this idea that the find your why is like, you need to have your big reason. And I really love that in like the abstract, because it is so abstract. Find your why. You need to get an emotional reason and an emotional response behind your goals, and that's going to drive you forward. Cool. But I think that's only half of it. And so the find your what. When you set a goal, you have to figure out what about achieving that goal do you love, the process. And so the why is really kind of up here. If we're talking about astrology or elements, the why is the air and the what is the earth. And you have to have all of the parts to it, because like, oh, I'm really emotionally attached to the idea of working from home and empowering women. Well, great. I love the idea of doing that. Okay, well, but what do you actually do to do that? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And so to
Do you
break it
love
down,
that what you're doing?
yes. So do you love the creating content regularly, posting on a schedule, having to live your life around the fact, and this is for me, I have to live my life around the fact that I have to constantly be creating and living in that emotional and spiritual high vibe place where I don't get to have a day where I'm just like, you know what, I'm not creative. I can't do this. I give up. Life's too hard. I have to stop. Because any traction that I gain, if I take time off of it, I just lose it.
Right.
And that takes away from your consistency, which is where any impact comes from as a leader. So the why is the emotional stuff, but what are you going to do every day? I have so many women that come to me, especially in their mid-20s. I remember what that was like.
Oh man.
So fun to be in your mid-20s.
No.
You're like so stressed that you don't have your life together all of the time and no one expects you to.
You couldn't pay me to go back, like at all. No. I'm so excited for everything in my 30s and my 40s. There's nothing like you guys are afraid of getting older. I love it.
Yes. Like just get Botox. You'll be fine.
It's good.
Like, take it. But these girls, women, females come to me and say, I ask them, because I think a huge part of knowing yourself and setting goals is understanding truly who you are and what you want to do every day. Mm-hmm. And so they say, I just want to make a lot of money. I just want to be rich. And it generally comes from women who didn't have a very wealthy upbringing. Mm-hmm. And so they see the ease and just the effortlessness and the fun and the Instagram versions of wealth. And I'm like, okay, you want to be rich. You want a job that's going to make you a lot of money. Cool. Well, what are you going to do every day? Well, I don't know. I just want a job that's going to make me a lot of money.
You want to be a trust fund baby. I think we're past that.
Right. Like you've opted out.
We've discovered you're not. So what's plan B?
Right. This is not Princess Diaries. Like your grandma's not going to come tell you that you're the ruler of a small European country.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. Come on, grandma.
Well, and funny note, I want to kind of expand on that because somebody asked me recently with doing this show if I could have somebody else do it. If there could be, because one of my biggest things is I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want to have a bunch of followers for me. I don't want to have memes made out of me and all these things. Sure. But like who wants that? Who wants to be a target? But what I do want is somebody with a good heart to run the company. What I do want is somebody who, and not just them is the owner, but do they work well with the team? You know, I hate the word employees. I hate saying that people are like, we're a team and we've always been a team. And the team at Mom Show, we've been through a lot the last 2 years and love them. So, but with taking on this new role, I don't want any of it. I really would prefer to stay anonymous. I would prefer to not be the face of it. But whenever we put somebody else in front of it, and we've gone through, I want to say I'm the third person to really kind of be in front of it the most now. And, you know, it's not exactly something that I was like, that's what I want my job to be, because you can choose, as you said, some people are just seeing wealthy people with a lot of followers and they know that they're wealthy because they have followers. So they're like, oh, I'll do that. I'll be TikTok famous. I'll be Instagram famous. I'll be an influencer. I'll do this. But influencers aren't just happy all the time. Some of them, I mean, there's songs about it. And let's look at my favorite guy, Robin Williams. Like it's Hollywood wasn't all that's cracked out to be. So so really find out what you're chasing, because that's like the vacation, that's your Disneyland. You know, you want to get to Disneyland, but do you like planning for Disneyland? Do you like
driving to Disneyland?
Right. Do you like the drive to Disneyland? Because in reality, I think a lot of people look at entrepreneurs and think that, they're self-employed, they get to work from home, they get to work for themselves. That's all great. But the driving there is a lot of work. Entrepreneurship is a lot of work. So if you're looking to work less hours, don't become self-employed.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yes, that's 100%. Yes. If you want to work for yourself, my boyfriend told me that he wants to start a coffee truck. And I was like,
such a great idea.
I was like, that's a great idea. You're going to be doing that 60, 70, 80 hours a week for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
He's like, whoa, I don't want to do that.
And what happens when somebody, your staff member, can't show up or something, like you, even when you hired help? So someone broke it down to me really simple one time. There's the leaders, there's the entrepreneurs, there's like the self-employed people. There's a better word for that, contractors, and then 9-to-5ers. And some people thrive having a team, a boss to impress, a schedule, and like this. Some people thrive in leadership. That's a lot more like parenting and sacrifice, and you are responsible for, because if you're working 9-to-5, you just call out and you call your boss and you're like, I'm going to the ER, boss. Like, you figure it out. There's not a lot of thought that goes behind that. But when you're the leader and you've got to manage 4 people and 2 people were supposed to be on shift and they're sick, now you're left calling, can I cover this? Can I call these 2 people to cover this?
Yes.
It's a lot of work.
Yes. I tell people it's like, because I feel like I've actually come to the point where I have arrived. Like I've quit my safety net job. I now work part-time for a company. I technically have a boss, but it's a startup. So there's only 8 of us. There's only 4 of us that really put in the hard, solid, time-consuming base work.
I hope doesn't make you unsuccessful as an entrepreneur. I feel like the whole point and the whole hustle as being an entrepreneur is to Impractical Jokers. I don't know if you saw his interview recently with Gary Vee. He talked about his overnight success, and the whole team of them, this was their last idea. They've been trying to make it big in the industry with comedy and make it their full-time job for 16 years. Yeah. And they had always, one guy was a bartender that had come to work the next day and shoot. One guy was a firefighter. But then Joe, he's one of my favorites. He worked at a baby store, Giggle, in New York, and sold baby stuff while he was working on Impractical Jokers. And now I think they're in like season 8 or something.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, you have your safety net, and that's the plan, where it's, you have your safety net and then you have your hustle, the thing that gets you up in the morning. You and I are both giant Amy Landino fans. And so I love her to pieces now.
She's great.
But it's all your fault. So thank you.
Yes. Oh, you're welcome. Well, what I love about Amy is she's so real. She's like, hey, here's where I started. She didn't fake that she had been vlogging her whole life or that she knew all this. She came out and she said, I did it this way. I had a job and I worked until this got to here, and then I quit. But at any point, I had a friend that worked for ESPN, and when football's canceled, he didn't feel comfortable taking from unemployment. He didn't want to take too much from the pot. And so he went and got a job. I believe it was just like Home Depot or some sort of department place. And he's only making like 16 an hour, but he knows how valuable his skills are. And when he can confidently walk in somewhere and in an interview, be like, I worked on this to get to this goal. Anybody interviewing you if they get an ounce of intelligence, they know that smart people pivot and they figure it out and they get it done.
And no one cares about gaps in your resume. No. Not a damn person. Nobody.
No. Anyone that I've ever explained it to, they're like, that makes sense.
Yeah. And also, like, in this day and age, working so much with LinkedIn, it has nothing to do with your resume anymore. It has everything to do with, here's the skills and assets that I bring, regardless of where they came from or how long it took me to get them. Here are the things that I've done. Here are the things that I've learned. Here are the things that I'll bring. Hire me or not.
Yeah.
And that's just it. But it's the idea, and Amy Landino's a great example. In her book, Good Morning, Good Life, she talks about how she spent a year at her safety net job, her full-time job, her job, working, but then putting, and that's the whole reason you wake up in the morning, is because you need to have that extra time to put in work towards the thing that's going to get you closer to that dream life. And so I worked 40 hours a week because that was a safety net job. And then I spent 10 to 20 hours a week working on mindset coaching, which then pivoted me into the online work that I do now, and then only has progressed. I mean, my clientele has gone from like stay-at-home moms to like C-suite executives, which it's awesome. And it happens really fast when it happens.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure the same thing happened for you.
It starts with mindset. Like all of it. It did, because there is no way, like we started out as an event company. We went to, I mean, and I have the most anxiety about anybody about making it a show. Like, I don't want, like, okay, let's make it a show. So now we're a show. And not pivot in itself. Like, it was all about mindset. It's all about mindset when your company no longer makes money anymore and you have to figure out a whole different way to make money. And we had staff, like we had people, like we had this entire plan, and then our whole plan looks different. And that doesn't just change because my job title changed or because I have to make money somewhere else. It changes because my mindset allows me to do that, and I'm stronger than my emotions. But that's something that I learned, and I don't just learn that from influencers that lie to me and say that everything's good and they're buying Ferraris, rapping in the back and doing, everything looked great. But one of my favorite influencers, Tony Hawk, he talks about how skateboarding died, how he had $1 million house at 18 and had all this figured out, and then skateboarding died. And it wasn't until 97 that it picked back up with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game. But no one gave a shit about Tony Hawk. No one gave a crap. But he had already made all this money, and he had to switch to making video and graphic design. Like, that has nothing to do with skateboarding. But his mindset was that he loved skateboarding. Like, he never stopped skateboarding, so he didn't stop. Like, his skills never went away. And much like your mindset coaching, like, it's still something that you exercise, like morning routines and taking care of yourself and your family and being that example for your friends, for your sisters, for your followers. Like, that's something that I'm just so thankful that I had you to look up to, and another coach that I look up to. And because I don't want people that lie to me and tell me that they're all cush and they're good. I want people that are like, I do this and this and this, and I make it work, and this is why I'm here. Because those are, I mean, that, I don't know if you know who Gary Vee is, but that's exactly who Gary Vee is. Like, you know, he didn't come in and lie. It's like, I don't know if you ever heard his mom's story, but his mom's story's rough. So and anyways,
it's intense. Well, and that's,
thanks for not lying to your followers, Leah.
You're welcome.
It. Okay, should I tell them your name? It's Leah Bliss, sister of 5, sister of 4.
Bliss. Yes.
LIA Bliss. Yeah, I love your name.
Thank you. Bliss. Well, that's what it is. It's like, you know, Bliss mindset coaching. It's easy. It was easy for me to pivot to that, to be like, oh, what should the name of my Change Your Life for the Better business be called? Like, oh, maybe Bliss. Oh, duh. So that was easy.
Yeah, easy.
But yes, mindset makes the difference, because how easy would it have been for you to turn around and be like, we're an event. There's no more events. We're done. It's over. Canceled. Shut down. I'm going to go work at Walmart.
I think that was my way out. I think we could, of course, I'm the type of person, I'm even going back. In fact, right now, if for some reason you're a vendor from last year and you're seeing this video, you should have been contacted already. But we're coming out and we're paying back our vendors from the first year. Some of them made over, like 3 times over what their booth fee were. But I don't feel like it was that successful. Some people said that they didn't have that great of a time. So we'd offered them to come back to a spot to our 2020 event for free. And at first, when everything was going on, we told them that they, you know, that they had to go to, like, if it was credited, that they had to go to this other event. And the more I think about it, I love vendors. So it's just, we're telling everybody that, hey, if you don't feel like you had a successful first year, we're giving you your money back, and we hope that you still want to work with us in the future, because they didn't really have an opportunity, whether like they did okay or not. All the events after that were shut down. And I know that's not my fault.
Yeah.
That's just who I am.
It's integrity.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You just have to hope and pray. Like, I call it the internal moral compass. Especially where we live in Utah, there's a strong suggestion of where your moral compass should be based on popular religions. But I think it's important to identify a sense of internal personal moral compass where it's not evil. You wouldn't be sinful to not pay them back, but in your heart of hearts, it would be dishonest, and you have to live with your own self for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and at least to reach out to them and be like, how successful do you feel you were? Do you feel like there shouldn't have been another competitive booth, rivaling next to another booth. None of that, we worked really hard to make all of that happen. But some people on the team, argued back with me that, it was a good event. People sold out. So because we weren't on the floor the entire time, we can't say, who had their head in their cell phone and were interacting with guests and not making sales. That's completely not my fault. But it doesn't matter. Like at this point, had life continued on the way it was, I did find a way I was going to credit them to another event for free. So there was things in the process, but now that looks different. And it doesn't matter, because me as a person, like, I know that mom and pop shops, the whole reason why I did this for them, because I know if you're working full time, you're not picking your kids up from school or you're not dropping them off. One of the two, especially now during the coronavirus. Like, I don't know if it's all schools, but my son's school is 30 minutes earlier than when it had normally gotten out. Yeah. So they up and switched their schedule on me. So if I was, even when there was 1 year, thank God for co-parenting. There was 1 year where I didn't even meet my son's teacher. And I feel like a terrible mom for that. But I had a really strong co-parenting team. But I had worked so much, and being a working mom, you're really depending on either an after school program, a relative, or you to stay home while your kid's going through. It's really hard.
It's really hard. Salt Lake County is doing, and we opted for the full-time distance learning for at least the first quarter. So he's home all of the time. He's been home since March. There has been, and we also have a really strong co-parenting. We went in for,
and he's older.
He's 6. Yeah. So he enjoys, like, I get to play on the computer and do my homework. Yeah. He's not like 16 where I'm like, oh my God, I hate you. Please do your homework.
Yeah.
But also with the co-parenting, we went in last week to meet his first grade teacher, and it was the 4 of us. So his dad and me, and then his stepmom to be, and then my boyfriend. And the poor teacher was like, who are all these people? I'm like, we're his parents. Literally all of us.
Yeah.
And so that, and I think, unfortunately, that's not the norm anymore. But with distance learning and any type of full-time over here, everybody has to be on board.
Yeah. Oh, and this year, our co-parenting team, I'm really lucky that it just keeps getting stronger. So their son, not my son at all, their son was starting kindergarten. And because being a working mom is hard, his mom's currently going through a really impressive program with her job that she can't miss the next 6 weeks. And
you're like, I'll do it.
And unfortunately, the dad is working for a college. And so it was also a crazy week and he couldn't take off work. And we were fortunate enough that me and the boyfriend could. So we went and took them to first day of school, and it was kindergarten. And kindergarten, so
that's
of course, like,
one.
Yeah, and she's really sad. Mom cried, but we're good moms. Yeah, it's hard. And we're really fortunate to have all four of us, because I think back, if it was just me and my ex parenting, the four of us help out each other a lot. It's crazy how much, yeah, like I was giving somebody advice the other day, and she's asking me about her ex, and I was like, okay, wait, he's in a relationship, right? It's like, yeah. And I was like, you friend up the girl. Like, you friend her up. What do you mean? I was like, this will fix your co-parenting dynamic. And step parents are so essential to a child's life or routine. And it's so ludicrous for us not to involve them just as much as other parents, because they're just as around, you know. And so it really helped us.
Yeah. And I had someone try to tell me, like, oh, well, you know that the step parent's job is to be like the fun uncle, right? Like the fun. And I was like, no, because no, like Marsha's stepmom is so involved.
Yeah, she's a mom.
Is honestly the backbone of their whole situation. No offense to his dad, but I mean, they all obviously do a great job, but she provides so much structure.
Yeah.
And then just little things. For me, like I went and took a friend for her birthday to brunch today, and my boyfriend could just be at home. I'm like, I'm gonna be gone for 2 hours. Cool. Otherwise it's like, oh, I can't leave. I have my child. Oh, I can't do anything. Oh, and it's just, and all of a sudden you have your whole life back, but you also get the chance to be a better parent because you get these give and take time away.
Yeah. I have a friend that's dating a single mom, and she has a cool story. I don't know her, so I'm kind of creepy talking about her. But so she hears this. Sorry, she moved from another state and just said, "I'm not gonna stay in the state. I'm not happy. I'm not happy where I'm at." And she's a single mom, and came and like researched like where was a safe place to go, and Salt Lake was one of the safer places to be, and which I totally agree. I've lived in 2 other states, and I just want to say, yeah, Utah's feel pretty safe. Yeah. So so as a single mom, she felt safe coming here, and yeah, but she does have a lot of limitations. Like she always has her daughter, for instance. There's not family help out here and whatnot. So being a single mom, I think a lot of us. Oh, I see. I always interrupt my thought. I'm thinking of another guy friend. He just took on his 2 kids, and the mom's gone. It reminds me of a lot of the Pursuit of Happiness story.
Oh,
like, what do you do when the mom's gone? You literally lose a limb. Like there's so much help that's involved there that it's hard.
Yeah. It was interesting because during the initial lockdown for quarantine, I was at home, but my boyfriend was still working full time. And then he retired. So he's former Marine, retired from the military. So he's just retired now. And it's such a big difference when I was home full time, how clean our house was versus when he was home full time. And I always joke, and I joke to him, and it's like, he's a terrible housewife. He's trying his best, but now both of us are home full time. I'm just technically working, but it's just this dynamic with like gender roles and who's in charge of what, and where's the expectation. And it's really caused us to like have to open up that communication a ton.
Well, and you were so independent. Like when you're a single mom, I told my boyfriend this. I feel like it hardened me for a while because I had to be the mom and the dad. And even though my son has a dad, when he is with me, because just like we admit, the stepmom fulfills such a role when she's there in the home with them, we also have this role to fill at home. I'm sure my friend's girlfriend fills that in a sense, being a single mom. Like you don't have that support, and even though and in our scenarios we do have that role,
right? I
don't want to call my ex all the time and be like, hey, he's not listening, I need you to chime in. Like that's not fun.
No. And even though that's always an option with a good co-parenting strategy, it's like, it feels like admitting weakness.
Yeah.
And even though it's not, and even though it should be the thing that we do, we get a little in our ego where we're just like, I am a strong, independent woman. Don't need no man. I can cook, clean, and bring home the bacon and parent the kids without any help. I don't need you. And then in the moment, it's just like, help. help.
Well, you realize it does take a village to raise a child, and whether you're getting that help like from a school, from online learning, from a sister, a boyfriend,
a neighbor, whatever,
co-parenting, yeah, you need somebody. So if the single mom is listening, ask for a little help.
Yeah. Literally, pay my forward dues. I had a lot of help as a single mom. I didn't have a really supportive romantic partner in my life up until about a year ago. I had boyfriends off and on, but nobody like stepdad level. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of help from a lot of girlfriends. And so to pay it forward, I have a girlfriend now who, single mom, dad is not really in the picture. And so I babysit her son once a week for free. And it's that, like, how great does it feel to look back to, you know, my 25-year-old self when I had or 26, newly single mom, and say, like, you're going to be in a position where you're not only making it, but you're making it major. You're making more money than you've ever made, doing something that you love, and you are giving back to single moms. Mm-hmm. In a very direct, real, effective way. Like, I would have just been like, oh, what?
I love it.
Who thought what?
Well, and it's crazy because we had to go through so many things to get here. We don't see, because we've been right in the middle of it. So it's crazy to think that, you know, once we're here, you know, you get so much more from giving back. And we know how that feels to have that babysitter finally like, yes, please, just 4 hours.
Yeah.
Great.
Like, I don't have anyone to watch him. I have to work. I can't not work. I can't pay you.
Yeah.
And you just feel awful. But then to turn around and be like, oh, absolutely, no problem. It's like, yeah. Okay.
See, if everybody in your tribe did that, like one day, let's just think about a month. That's like 30 people. That's really hard to hand. That's a crazy equation. Hand your kid off to 30 different people. Because that's probably one of the scariest thoughts is that, especially when they're a toddler, there's a lot of routine that goes into it. My sister-in-law was leaving for a trip, and I seen her chart that she set out for grandma to follow, and was like, at this time, you know, Jacob will do this, and he'll do this, and he'll take you here, and he'll show you this. Like, your kids know their routine.
Yeah. They crave it.
Yeah, kids need routine, guys. Like,
yes.
It's the best, especially for the toddler. It's the safest thing for them to know what to expect. It's really scary to bounce around. So that would, now that I'm like plugging that in, that would be hard to be like, yes, 30 people do this, but maybe
5. She's got 5 days.
5 days. Yep. If you could find everybody.
And she's got, between her mom and her sisters and a couple of friends, like 5 days. Mm-hmm. And it works. And it's like, and then all of a sudden, while there is a lot of kind of that toss up in the schedule, but you get to build these relationships as a young child and have, like, because all children want to feel safe and loved.
Yeah.
And we crave it. And with coaching, something I always talk about is that we're actually not adults. Like, that's just a name that we put on our responsibilities, but emotionally we are children.
Yes.
And we're babies like that. And we need the routine, but also having a safe person to go to with regularity. The number of people, I mean, talk therapy has taken such a huge turn, right? 20, 30 years ago, you say you're going to a therapist, people are like, oh God, oh, okay. And now it's like, my therapist.
Yeah, thank goodness, because there's a really, really shocking point I would make to people. And I just say, you know, think about it in jail. You're around murderers, like the worst people ever, like in jail. They put y'all together, and still the worst thing that they can do to you is put you by yourself.
Yes.
Like, you cannot be by yourself. So if you feel, and I think there's beauty and having enough confidence to be by yourself every once in a while and not always need validation. Oh, yeah. That's definitely something that comes with time. But if we're nurturing those other relationships like the right way, you should always have a perfect blend of the both, but don't ever stay. If you haven't had some good interaction for like I even dare say 2 days. That's a big red flag. Like,
yeah, if you can go that long without reaching out and engaging with another human that you love and trust, that's one thing. When I was right after, so I like to think that my life started after this yoga trip that I took June 2019. I was recently single from a just like all the wrong reasons relationship. And that would be a whole different story about how to pick a relationship. But at this retreat, all the girls are like, write down a list of everything you want in a man and then manifest it. And I was like, okay, so I wrote down this ridiculously long and involved list. One of the things at the top is has friends. The number of people who are just like who are looking to get into a relationship because they just need a social life is shocking. And I would discriminate against that heavily in the dating world.
that is such a good point.
Yes. If you if you are dating a man who has no friends, you have to ask yourself, why? Like, men love that. Like, women need our girl groups for sure, but men also need a group of men to like bro with, whether they go just like kick rocks in the wilderness or they go like do, trivia night together as dudes, whatever it is, just a group of dudes to dude with. And if you have a boyfriend who doesn't have any friends, it's like, God, what's that movie? I Love You, Man. It's one of my favorite movies with Paul Rudd. And he had no friends. I think his best friend's his mom. Like,
yeah,
that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And gentlemen, go get some friends.
Yeah.
Don't count on your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Go on mandates.
Those are sometimes the situations they just weigh down their partner for too much attention. And that's not always a good thing.
And ladies need the same thing. Ladies, it is the hardest thing on the planet to make friends as an adult.
Yeah.
It is so hard. So if you want, I have a hack.
Find me
a friendship hack. How to find friends hack. It's like a real thing. So
how do you do it?
It's actually the same way that, so if you need to find friends or need to find a romantic partner, it's the same trick. So you write a list of everything you want. We'll say a best friend.
Okay.
Everything I want in a best friend. I want my best friend, and let's give her a name.
Jenny.
Jenny?
Yep.
Jenny. Jenny's my best friend now, as of right this moment.
Yep.
She is, I've always heard that best girlfriends have the same taste in booze and opposite taste in men. So I need her to have opposite taste in men than me, but also love champagne. I want her to be super into yoga, but not super into hiking because I don't love hiking. So I want her to be like kind of hippie, witchy like me, but maybe a little bit more pragmatic. I want her to have a good job, a grown-up job. I want her to like do social sports, but for the social aspect, not overly competitive. I want her to have an artistic side, be really.
I have a friend named Jenny that you should meet that just fits this description. It's hilarious.
Perfect. But so you get this description, and if I was going to manifest a boyfriend, and this is actually how I did it, the man of my dreams, the number one most perfect romantic partner I've ever found in my life, is because I was like full head of hair. First off, full head of hair, big boy job, has friends, is outdoorsy, is athletic, former Marine. It was important to me because of the whole like.
You really put that on your list.
I did. I really did. Adapt and overcome. Marine. I wanted him to, and all these things. I wanted him to be a relationships guy. And then you take your list, whether it's friends or romantic partner, and you figure out, you ask yourself this question. What are they doing right now?
She's in yoga class.
She's in yoga class. I need to get my ass to yoga class to intercept her. Where is she? It is almost 6:00 in the evening. She is a stepmom, we'll say. It's Sunday. So she's probably with her kid right now, or her stepchild. She's with her stepchild because she has weekend visitation. They're probably having dinner. Okay. What are they going to do tomorrow? They're probably going to go on a family hike, even though she doesn't love it. They're probably going to go on like
Gotta
an
get
easy,
outside.
yeah, like it's
Yeah.
Labor Day, let's do something. Or they're going to go to the park with the kid. So I should go do those things to intercept them. My boyfriend, when I manifested him, I thought, okay, I want a former Marine because I really, and we've talked about this, him and I, that I'm so much like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I got big ideas. I need to take some action, and the Marine adapt and overcome kind of mentality. I have a strong personality and I needed that to work well with me. So I thought, who do I know that knows a lot of Marines and has a lot of friends? And I was like, oh, that guy Ryan that I met that one time at karaoke, I should call him. So I slid into his DMs, just like, hey, let's hang out. I had no interest in dating him. I wanted to date all his friends. I knew he had a big group of friends. I knew they were all Marines. I'm going to go date his friends. And then that failed miserably. And now we've been together a year.
That's so great.
And then,
well, it's a very entrepreneur mindset when you like
yes,
anytime that you, well, it's entrepreneur mindset. It should be the goal mindset is you put yourself in front of what you need. If you want a soccer scholarship, how are you going to get that?
yeah,
Playing soccer, introducing yourself to people who play soccer. You probably want your group to be soccer playing people because
yeah,
you want to go play soccer in your spare times and your other friends want to go drink. So
yes, yes. You are the culmination of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Your vibe attracts your tribe. All of these little Instagrammable quotes, they all come together. The other half of that equation is just do whatever the hell you want whenever you want it. But you have to go do something.
Yeah.
Because fun people have people that want to spend time with them. People like people that are fun. And so I would say 90% of the girls that I have as my closest friends, I met because I went to yoga class every Saturday morning at 9:00 for 6 months, and then got introduced to this person, chatted up this person. And it's not like I'm out there with this kind of weird vibe of like, okay, I'm going to find a friend. Who's going to be my next best friend? You. That's not right. We don't want to have that energy, but just showing up and being open and having that mindset, like, I'm going to meet people who are just like me. I'm going to be myself. And then that walks it back to, how do you know yourself better? You can't attract people to you. And that's what I think most people are missing out these days is, how do I attract either a romantic partner or a friendship or a job? How do I attract what I want? You got to know what you want.
And the mindset, I want to expand on that. The mindset needs to be the next right step to what you need. So I think a lot of the times, or at least I can relate, you know, back in the day when I'm an 18-year-old mom in poverty, and I feel like I can't, you know, actually we're going to talk about me being in poverty is a kid. You know, my family didn't have the nicest things, and it was really embarrassing. I remember at 15 I took an ice cream shop job and I didn't have a lot of clothes. I felt really embarrassed, and if I had clothes, they didn't fit me well because they were like, we found clothes where we could get clothes.
Because you're a very petite woman.
Yeah, well, and I've always been small, and even if it was my size, because it was like donated clothes, or like maybe this brand just made the pants weird. I don't know. It just wasn't I didn't feel confident in my clothes. Like, people tell you to dress the way, you know what I mean? Such a stupid mindset sometimes, because I wish I could just show up and be like, hey, see this crazy hair and the no makeup, but I got so much done last night because I worked so hard. You know, I mean, the guys building buildings, they don't look all dressed up, but they got a lot of work done. So yeah, so I think of it like that. But in this scenario, I had been working at an ice cream shop, and I was really embarrassed that we didn't have uniforms because I wasn't as cute as the other girls. And it was hard for me to make friends because I didn't feel like I was as good as they were. And so I think that that's like a mental block that you have to kind of get over. Because what ended up happening is I quit that job and went and got a pizza place job, and they had a uniform, and so that worked out. So no one knew what kind of money my mom made after that, because
no one knew I was home.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so it worked
that
out.
brings a great point. Yeah.
That you have to like really get over the fact, you greet the janitor the same way you greet the CEO. And if those people don't treat you with just as enough respect back, something's wrong with them. And so I think you really need to be able to go out in the world and have the confidence that if somebody does treat you a little snobby, maybe their grandma died the day before. Like maybe something really weird happened to where they don't give a crap about anything. They don't even give a crap about nice people. Like you don't know what's going on in their head. So
that is something that I find myself teaching a lot as well, is the ideas of false stories. And I have to remind my clients a lot. I call it the actual factuals. Okay, but give me the actual factuals. And they'll talk about where, and I actually read about this concept in a book where she said, the point is illustrated. You text your friend, hey, do you want to come to my barbecue on Saturday? She texts back, no, I can't. It's my birthday. You text back, oh my God, happy birthday. Let's plan something later. She never responds. You then in your mind are like, holy shit, she is so pissed at me. I'm going to have to buy her some ridiculous present to get out of this mess. I can't believe she's so upset. What? And then you start to like go
manifest something.
Well, but you spiral.
Yeah,
and you're just like, she's such a bitch. It's like, she's 27. Who cares? Like, you need to get over yourself. Why do you even care so much about your birthday? Like, I don't even know why you're so pissed off that, and this is all happening in your head. And the actual factuals are, you text her, she texts you, you text her, she dropped her phone in the toilet.
Yeah.
And you don't know that any of these things that happen, she may get her phone, she may have seen your message and then dropped your phone and was like, oh, I didn't expect her to even know it was my birthday. Not a big deal. Now I'm just freaking out about my phone in the toilet.
Yeah.
And you are sitting over in your own space, creating this narrative. And for you, that narrative that these girls aren't going to like me, I'm not as cute as them. Or this narrative that, you know, I'm not worth enough because they must think this of me. When in the actual factuals,
they probably don't care at all.
Nobody even noticed.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened. And you've made up this entire story and life and identity. I've done this. I had the fear story. Gabby Bernstein refers to fear as false evidence appearing real. So I had this story about myself because I took a personality test in high school, the color code. Everybody in my high school took it. And maybe it was junior high. Like, we were pretty young.
I remember it. I don't remember what I had, but
it was
I remember
like red, blue, white, and yellow. And red was like the power. Super dominant. Blue was like the politician. White was like the passive fixer. And yellow was like the party kid. Or at least that's how we all took it.
I think I was white and yellow.
12.
Yeah.
And, right, like we're 12.
We're all a yellow.
We're all a yellow. And I was definitely a yellow. And so I had this story in my mind, like, I don't have follow through. I suck with commitments. I'm too creative. I'm just here for the party. I don't get a lot of work done. I can't finish projects. I have no substance. And it took like 10, maybe 15 years to get over that idea of myself.
Yeah.
And people have said things to me in the past 10 years, like, wow, you really have a lot of follow through. And I'm like, I don't. Even though the actual factuals are like, I did a great job and I had some significant follow through. But my story was, I'm flaky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I ignored the actual factuals. And so many times we do that, where it's like, why are we ruining our lives for things that aren't real?
Yeah. Where are we? We're over our time, but I'm going to keep you for 1 second because I'd like to throw my family under the bus just one more time. I did it in my last, I tell myself that I'm not going to often. There's some things that I would like other people to relate to though.
Well, and to off the record, like, you have a lot of things that you're saying. There's a lot of things that you're saying, and
Yeah.
it's your truth.
Yes.
And your truth, they can choose whether or not it makes them uncomfortable, but that doesn't make it not true.
Yes. That is very, and side, like I've had very progressive conversations with my family. I've had very,
Sure.
you know, I forgive you. Here's where we're at. If we'd like to continue to have a relationship, you know, we do therapy. All the next right things that I feel is appropriate for that family. There was a time where I say one of my parents asked me to fail a school test that was very important. This was one of the resource tests.
Oh, yeah.
And I
like
actually
be in the dumb kid class.
because they said it would make school easier for me. And so what I don't think that they realized that it created was just that I was dumb, that I wasn't able to learn these things, that I had some sort of learning disability. And I actually wonder, so I was in resource classes in elementary school. I don't remember like being told to like fail it or anything like that. And it wasn't resource class. It was like one, I don't know why I went one. Yeah, it wasn't even like I went as a classroom thing. It's somewhere that I had to be called out of class to go. And I think it was just to help me like with reading or something extra. But when I think back about to, you know, how my parents taught me how to read and, you know, versus how I teach my son how to read, you know, for a while, because he was struggling too. And his scores were just as low. And so one day I called his dad and was like, hey, I'm going to read a paragraph and then with him, and then he's going to read it. And I'm going to read it and he's going to read it. We're just going to go back and forth. And I remember, you know, and him feeling like, okay, well, good luck. Let me know if that works. It really should be him reading more and kind of doubting the situation. But I really remember my parents had sat a camera in front of me and told me to read a book, and that I had to like read it out loud. And I was so dumb. Like I wasn't dumb. I felt so dumb. This is like me getting in that headspace. I felt so dumb, like trying to
feel small and insignificant. And close.
Well, and I feel like there's this expectation of me, especially like I'm being filmed to perform a certain way. It's like I can't even pronounce these words. Like they were above where I was at in my life. And so then later on, I do remember, so that was like elementary school. And then it was 8th grade. So I'm at the tail end of junior high. And the parent had asked me to purposely fail this because school would be easier. And looking back on it now, I think that I just wasn't we weren't exercising my brain. I'm very smart. And it wasn't until I was a single mom. And I had actually taken a different job. I had a more important job that I really, really liked beforehand. And to me, more important, I was working with disabled clients and loved them. That didn't work out. And then I went to a call center. And this call center was paying way more than I was making at this other job, ironically. And I was like, hey, I've heard that they hire everybody. That was like the
go around.
The standard. Yeah, everybody just knew that in the neighborhood. So I applied for this call center, finished training, and within 1 month of being on the floor, I got the highest stats in the entire call center. And they came up to me and they cut
awards.
It was crazy. Oh my gosh. I was so mad they came and took my picture too. I had no makeup on. I looked ridiculous. But they came up, and the 2 girls who had got the stats, because at first everybody thought it was a mistake because I was the newbie on the floor. And the other girl who had finally got it, she'd been working there for a year and she had never gotten an award like that. So it was a very, it was a very good vibe. Everybody was happy for me. But that was the moment I realized I could learn anything I wanted to. And I knew that it didn't have a degree, not because of, you know, me not being smart enough to get a degree. I didn't have a degree because I was never stable enough to pursue a degree.
Right. And I don't have a degree because I was always told in my mind to myself, and probably backed up by my family, that, well, you're flaky, you're an artist. That's just not how you are. You're terrible in school. Mm-hmm. I was always the smartest kid in class, but I always took the dumbest courses. Like I never took any advanced kind of schoolwork, and I just flat out refused to do homework.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you're bad at school, so you probably aren't. So yeah, hair school.
Yeah. And they just set that, which I mean, very successful people go to hair school and go and make six figures or
Yeah,
what.
absolutely.
But
It's the
when we talk
stigma.
about right, it's the stigma. And when we talk about happiness too, because I'll always touch base on this, is that it doesn't matter to me if you're making 200,000 a year or if you're making 40,000 a year. However, you configure to make that flex, and what makes you what makes you happy to get
What
out of bed
makes
in
you
the morning. So
Yep. It's all about how you define success, because a lot of people define success monetarily. I
yeah.
have a big house. I have a nice car. I make blankety blank dollars. And I know people in my life who make six figures who literally gave up their dream in life, their passion, their talent for an incredibly stable job that paid six figures. And that was a decision.
Mhm.
While other people gave up their incredibly stable careers to follow their artistic dreams and now are being wildly successful.
Mhm.
And there's no right answer.
And to some people who think, you know, the six figures, this is what I need and want, and like, yes, of course. Sometimes there's those paths, like you have a bad boss on top of that. Like sometimes that comes with that. Or people, you know, they don't want the stress of the bad boss, but they don't want the climb of it either. So they want to
Yeah.
be but they want the six figures now. And that's not how it works. Unfortunately, if you want that fast success, again, unless you're a trust fund baby, you're probably partnering up with somebody and you're on a team
Yeah.
figuring out how to make that possible.
Yeah. Or you wait. My dad has finally, after 2 marriages and, 6 years of unemployment, I think he got fired from his job and then they gave it to his wife. Yeah. Talk about a weird home relationship. And now
They
at
still love
50,
each other, right?
oh no, they're divorced.
Oh,
No, they got
snap.
divorced. They got divorced.
Okay.
It's fine. But the idea is that, like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna pay my dues. And he's a very smart man. And my dad told me that you can either go to college or you can pay your dues.
I love that. Yeah.
And those are basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm now to a point where there's girls on my team who are in their early 20s that went to college and did the thing. And my sister makes a lot of money a year,
Yeah.
but she went to community college, got a full ride to UCLA. She spent 2 years living at home, paying off student debt. Like, she did that part. And I did the, 15 years of just hard knocks and learning the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're all kind of
you've been doing LinkedIn for a lot more than what a college degree, like you've been doing that much longer.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, social media and just being, it's like if your dad's a mechanic, you probably know stuff about cars.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing where being in a home where marketing was the number one topic all of the time, it kind of came naturally. And so that was kind of an easy transition. But it's like knowing I have a lot of my clients do a success map. It's like, okay, how do we define success? Because what do you do when you get there? How do you know that you're there? How are you going to define success along the way? And it makes it a lot easier to say yes to the right opportunities, because for me in my life, it has been a winding road. We joked the other night, I have a bunch of girlfriends, we get together, we call it witch night for the full moon. It's very fun. It's just
Nice.
a lot of wine. And
I want to go.
they were like, let's put together a business card with every single job you've ever had on it. And it's going to be the tiniest fine print. I'm like, yeah, I taught school. I was a bartender. I have done so many things. I studied opera. Like, I went to hair school, all of these things that I've done because I just didn't know where I wanted to end up.
Right.
It's like, I'm just going to marry this loser over here who is not my child's father. My child's father is a delight, but my first husband was a disaster. I'm going to go do this. No, I'm going to go do, and I just didn't know where I was going my whole life until I said, this is where I want to be. Mm-hmm. And no matter what, I will get there. And then every opportunity that brought me a little bit closer. So instead of doing this for 30 years, I was able to just really streamline that process to be like, this is where I want to end up. And I will only say yes to the opportunities that will get me closer to that.
Yes.
I will not say yes to opportunities, even if they're great opportunities.
Yeah.
They're going to take me not in the direction I want to end up.
I know a hypnotherapist that, see, it's funny that you say all this. And again, all this comes with, I feel like it's almost the same knowledge, but we need all these different outlets from it. But I know a hypnotherapist, again, has her degree. This is what she's been studying her life on. And she says the same thing. She says, set your goal. And as soon as you close your eyes and you envision who you are and you're supposed to be, and you set that goal, anything, like, as long, if you really want it, anything else will look like that. It
goes away.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah, sorry I'm taking up all your time.
No, you're fine. Do you want to plug my deck?
Yes. And in fact, I was just going to ask you about all your stuff. So tell me about your deck. Tell me about your coaching. Tell me about all of it really fast.
So for me, for the mindset portion of the company I work for, I own the mindset version. I work under, because it's Bliss Point Consulting and then Bliss Mindset Consulting. So they all kind of run together. But for the mindset coaching that I do, I have a group on Facebook. It's just Leah Bliss Mindset Coaching. Very easy to find.
And we'll put a link of all this in the bottom.
We can link it, yes. So, and I've actually taken about a week and a half off. It's the least active I've ever been. Normally I'm on there doing live videos, doing free coaching, doing memes, all the things. So I have that. I also have a group coaching option about once a month. I have a 2-week intensive coaching for self-confidence. And it's a group of women. It's about an hour a day for 2 weeks. And it's really, really great. That is only $99. It's so fun. And you get live coaching every single day. And if you don't get there for the live, you get to watch the replay. There's tons of journal prompts. There's all sorts of help. I also have my Goddess course, which is a little bit higher, more intensive. And then one-on-one working with me, which is honestly just a lot like this. Yeah. We talk. I just give you a lot more homework.
Which I get so off my course. Well, okay, say with my coach, with my friend, but I get so off my course if I don't have my Monday coffee, like something, I get off my course. So if you have the money and the time to invest, because you're affordable, and do it. I don't think it's something that you're going to regret investing in yourself.
It's $100, and it's one of those things where over the 2 weeks we build on this routine, this morning routine that gets you really sure of yourself. And I have had girls, I wish I could go on and on about all the girls that have like changed their lives, pivoted their careers. It's been so important during the whole COVID thing, because so many of these women that jump into these groups are just like, I have no job. I don't know where I'm going. My job doesn't exist anymore. What do I do? And we really redefine it. So it's
and you don't leave them high and dry after this group, you guys. After you guys meet with Leah and everything, like, you're in her circle. Like, you're not just like pay and done and go. Like, you guys are a part of her career now. Like her circle.
My tribe, my coven.
Yeah, there we go. That sounds better. I don't even know why that came out that way. You're part of her career. You're part of her coven.
Part of my coven. And there's a lot that goes on in the Facebook group, but it's based a lot around journaling. So if there was one thing that I would say, if you make one change to your life, you will see exponential change for the better. It's a daily journal habit. And so I created a deck. It's like a tarot deck, but also journaling prompts, but also my boyfriend and I used it to just ask each other questions and have a deeper conversation one night. But each of the cards is a different color.
Ooh, pull one for me.
And okay. So each of them are based on, the colors are related to your chakras. So based on what you need.
I'm awful. I'm like, we're over our time. Let's draw cards for me. It's fine.
We can edit. We'll fix it in post.
Good.
This also is just let Leah and Des hang out for once.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, tell me when.
When?
So this is Yellow.
It's my favorite color.
Me too. That's why we're best friends, because we have the same favorite color. So yellow is your solar plexus. That is where a lot of your self-confidence, your bright, shiny, this is me, this is who I am, solar plexus self-energy is. It's located above your navel, below your sternum. So right.
Okay.
So
I can't see my hands, but it's there.
I know, you can see mine. Oh, this one's for you.
Oh no, that's this on video.
So how can I avoid excuses in the future?
Ooh. Targeted.
I feel attacked. But that's how these work. It's so cool, because it's like, oh man, yeah, I'm the one, like the yellow's your get up and go. And it's like, man, excuses are literally just fake reasons why I don't want to be successful.
Yeah. Oh man.
Reasons. So that's one way that they can be used, to pull a card a day and then journal about it for 10 minutes. Super duper easy.
That's cool.
Or I've had some girls do a 3-card spread where it's like past, present, future, or problem, solution, future. So for something like that, like with a traditional tarot deck, I'm just going to pull these super randomly.
Yeah.
Beep, boop, boop. So past, why do I deserve to be happy? And you can kind of think about that question in the container of my past self. And then present, who do I need to become to create my best life? That is one of my absolute most favorite journal prompts. Who do you need to become to create your best life?
I like that. And journaling is so healthy, you guys, because when you're taking this question, you're writing it down, you're talking to yourself. This isn't something that you have to, this sounds mean, because my partner loves me and he loves when I talk to him, but he doesn't love when I'm so emotional and always want to talk to him. And so this is something to do for yourself. So you're like, why do you deserve to be happy? You self-affirmation, you tell yourself why. These are notes to you.
These are notes to you. And if you think about it, why do I deserve to be happy in the past? Like, okay, what happiness came from my past? Who do I need to become in the present to create my best life? And in the future, how could being more adventurous enhance my life? And so you can kind of take this intuitively, and it's like, okay, I have so many things that have happened to me that I have every reason to be happy. All the things that happened in my life, even as shitty as they were, I have no excuse to be sad.
Yeah.
Right now, who am I that I'm creating my best life? And then let me look in the future for more opportunities to be more adventurous.
Yeah.
And so
that's the last card.
That's the last card. How could being more adventurous enhance my life?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that was the last card. I thought you were just saying that. It's like, oh, yeah.
But it was there.
Nice.
So I have these on my Instagram. And
how do you get those? Link in your Instagram?
So there's a link in my Instagram, or we can just put my Linktree link.
Yeah, I'm going to put the link all.
So it'll link you to my Facebook page, my Instagram page, where you can buy the deck. And this is actually the first edition that I sold out of, and I revamped it a little bit. So there is a second edition out. Nice. After it sold out. So you can
congratulations.
Thank you. You can order the second edition. I am working on a video series. So just like the deck, you could just download me talking to you.
Nice.
So I just have a Linktree link. It'll take it all there. One link. You can have it all.
Okay, cool.
Links it over to all the books I recommend. Links it over to a bunch of stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, check out. You guys always ask people, what book do you recommend? Like, you'd be surprised. You'll always have a new book. It's great. Keep reading.
Right now I'm reading Career Rehab.
Career Rehab by who?
That's a great question.
Oh, Career Rehab, look it up.
Career Rehab, look it up. I should.
Nice.
We're connected on LinkedIn. I should know her name.
We'll figure it out. But you recommend it so far. It's been good.
I'm pretty sure her name is Kanika Tolver.
Nice. But see, that means that you keep reading, because if you had it memorized, that means that you've already been there, done that. Like you keep growing.
Keep growing.
Cool. All right, I'll get out of your hair. I actually do have to physically go somewhere. It's ironic I said I'm staying home, but I do have to go somewhere. So
Okay.
for once, it's so good to talk to you.
You too. I love you so much.
Yeah, we will connect after the show. But you guys, all of her information is linked below. Reach out to Leah. She's super great.
Yep.
Join a group. Find a tribe. Take care of yourself.
Intercept your people.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Intercept your people all the time. What do you want? Oh, and go write down a list for yourself. What do you want? Go ask, what do you want in you? Write down a list for you.
Write a list for you. Write it down.
Okay. Well, I adore you.
Love you a long time. I'll see you soon. Have a great night. Let me know.